Awesome. Speaking of dignifying, Lana dignifies the Big Show by responding to him and talks about how it's Vladimir Putin's birthday today, and she even talked about how he's muscly, so apparently he's also a sex symbol according to Lana for some reason, which was weird, like really, really weird. I don't understand why. But yeah, this whole thing. Here's my thing, John. I want to really like Lana because I like the idea of having an evil female manager who isn't afraid to stand up for herself because she knows that her client can stand up for her if she ever gets herself in too deep. But when she says stuff like this and her whole shut up stick, the whole shut up shtick that she has going on, like, it's getting worse somehow. Her mic work, it just feels so unnatural, and she's just so green. And then The Rock shows up and interrupts them, and literally, not only does he interrupt them, but he literally has a 4-minute entrance. I frickin' looked at the clock when he entered, and then looked at the clock when he spoke his first words, and it was 4-minute difference. But then he completely shows her up on the mic. Like, if this was a mic battle between The Rock and Lana, it was less a battle, more a slaughter, because she had absolutely no ammunition, and he brought the full frickin' barrel at her, and it was just ugly, man. Like, and obviously we already talked about the objectification and the humanization and all that stuff, and that's terrible, but where the frick did The Rock come from anyway?
And that's just it. I think the only thing I just want to kind of expound upon is your point that you have these two really inexperienced mic workers, and I got to give credit to Rusev.
Yeah, props to Rusev, man. He saved his side of this segment.
He did, because he kept it short, succinct, and well, yeah, pretty much succinct and threatening. Those two words alone are all that's needed. And yeah, Rock, of course, is going to be like machine gun fire on the mic because it's what he's known for.
It's what he does. Just ask Mark Henry.
Exactly. So, it's like, yeah.
Because Mark Henry is the authority on what everybody does.
You know it. But if this is WWE's way of like testing the waters with Rusev and Lana as like a heel pairing in terms of mic work, well, this was a horrible mismatch, and dare I even use the word unfair.
If this was their way of testing the waters, they drowned.
Exactly.
Or rather, Lana drowned and Rusev kind of doggy paddled a little bit until he got to the edge, and then if it wasn't for him getting to the edge and hanging onto that, he would have drowned anyway.
Exactly. I mean, this was beyond unfair in terms of really putting these guys out here in front of this situation. I know everybody's got to be tested at some point, but against The Rock...
Meanwhile, The Rock is over there jumping off of the frickin' expert diving board and doing a 360-degree twist in the middle of his jump. It's just not even fair.
Exactly. So I think that's the only other point I wanted to kind of expound upon, because everything else we did cover in Heat of the Night, so if you want to move on, we can.
All right. Up next was our second Divas match of the night. First one having been the Brie Bella Summer Rae Ham tie behind your back thing. AJ and Emma versus Paige and Alicia Fox. And at first, I was super happy that Emma actually got her entrance. But then they made her look like a total joke.
Yeah, this really ticked me off. I don't want to go on and on about this, but we get that Emma's kind of like that naive, bubbly character from NXT, but she was never incompetent on NXT.
Right.
They always made her look very capable in the ring. They made her look here like she had no idea what she was doing. And what's even worse, because my Emma fandom aside, which is where that anger stems from anyway, the idea that AJ abandons Emma, who's the heel here in this whole thing again?
I don't think either one of them is supposed to be a heel, to be honest.
I don't even know like what's going on. So she abandons Emma. Paige gets the kick to the face, and then the Rampage, which is still a beautiful looking finisher. And she gets the pin, and AJ just looks on coldly like... You know what would be crazy? If this whole thing ended with Paige and AJ legitimately reconciling and, like, I guess being this female tandem, just sharing the Divas Championship. I guess kind of like Cool did, but I obviously don't see that happening here. But yeah, her just looking on Coley, just treating Emma like garbage, and then, of course, Creative just treating Emma as completely incompetent. Just really, really bugged me. I didn't care for this match at all.
Yeah, I know that you're laughing because you feel like you're ranting, but I completely agree with everything you just said, dude. Like, this match was embarrassing for both Emma and AJ fans. This match did nothing to progress either one of them. All this match really did was somehow make AJ look like a heel when she's supposed to be the top diva babyface, and made Paige, it didn't even really make Paige look strong, because the whole point of AJ walking out on Emma was that Emma looked pathetic in this match. So if you pin that, what does it even matter?
That's a great point. I didn't even think of, dude. Great catch. And you're talking about two women, Paige who got the pin and Emma who was pinned, who had two exemplary matches for the NXT Women's Championship. And yet Emma is booked like this on the main roster. Once again, providing ammunition for the argument, maybe you don't want to get promoted from NXT because you get treated like gods and goddesses there. So there you go.
Yeah. All right. So up next, we had the Eric Rowan vignette. I don't know if we really want to talk too much more about that, since we already went on quite a bit about the Luke Harper one earlier and even talked a little bit about Rowan.
Yeah, I just really like the Rowan one, and again, that whole discussion, I think was enough there, so I have nothing else to say.
And then, as if Torito versus Minigator wasn't enough of a bathroom break, we got two consecutive segments that I just could not even force myself to care about. The Seahawks were winning by 2 touchdowns, and it was still more interesting than Raw tonight. Miz versus Sheamus, and then the Joan London segment. So, I mean, for Miz Sheamus, not really a lot to say here. The star of this whole segment was Damien Mizdow on the outside mimicking Miz. And if you take that away, this was probably the most boring match on the card. At least Torito versus Minigator had some weird shenanigans going on the outside. And it's the Miz and Sheamus. Like, who cares? I don't think anybody cares about either one of these guys. And my mom, who at one point was a huge Sheamus mark, has even stopped caring about him.
I didn't know that. Yeah, that's enlightening. Listen,
well, it's one of those things where she wants him to turn heel.
I do too, and I think you do.
Well, I think most people do at this point.
Yeah, I think he's just run his limit as a babyface. But let me just say this. We could just completely bypass the Joan...
And then I apologize for cutting you off, but before you get into what you were about to say, I just want to point out, at one point you did say, now that Sheamus is a babyface, I would almost be okay with him never turning heel again.
Yeah, it's weird, because to me, seeing this match tonight and seeing how it was received, it's really made me kind of rethink that a little bit, because at first I think, well, Sheamus is really beloved, but you know what? Like, his antics have not stopped. Like, on SmackDown, he hit Mizdow with a steel chair, and I think he chased him off with it again after this match. Like, his tendencies have not changed, so I'm like, he has these heelish tendencies. Maybe it's time I rethink my premises a little bit and say that it's just not working and he should be that heel. Because he's a natural douche. You and I joked about it the entire time he feuded with Alberto Del Rio. And that was when, Ash? In like 2012, 2013?
Yeah, 2012 is when it was.
2012.
Because 2011 was when Edge had it going into the year, and then Christian got it, and then Orton got it, and then Mark Henry got it, and then Big Show had it for 30 seconds, and then Daniel Bryan won it.
Right. And, nothing has changed from that time. Hell, even with the whole Daniel Bryan thing, he kicked Bryan the moment he turned around. Like, didn't even give a guy a chance to fight. He's always had these heelish tendencies, even
Dude, I feel like not even just us, but most wrestling fans, most internet wrestling fans, most hardcore wrestling fans have kind of viewed Sheamus as a heel since 17, or was it 18 seconds?
18 seconds.
Yeah, since that moment. Because in that moment, it was like he turned heel, and then he just kept on acting like a total douchebag for the rest of the year.
Right. That said, I was going to say that you can completely bypass Joan London when we get to it, because I really said all I wanted to about it being heartwarming and stuff. But the last comments I want to make about Sheamus, Miz, and all that stuff. Damien Mizdow was so over with this crowd, it was great.
Yeah. We had better than, what was it?
Sandow's better.
Sandow's better, and then we got We Want Sandow.
Yeah.
It was great.
They love his antics. And you know what? I'm glad commentary, because I don't know if this is going to develop into anything further. Maybe it was just planting the seedlings and they're going to take their...
Commentary wouldn't have acknowledged it if it wasn't.
Exactly, because they said it's got to get under Miz's skin. The star is never supposed to be outshined by the stunt double.
Yeah.
And I love that. I got to say, for as much flack as we gave commentary, they really picked up the ball here and ran with it, because I love their sentiments about it. So, yeah, that was my last comment. And then if you just want to, again, be done with this segment and Joan London, we can go on to the next segment after those two. So.